you guys, and welcome to Sith Happens Star Wars podcast. I am Eric the Dadalorian, and thank you guys for coming in for another week of hanging out with us. I'm joined by always as my two usual co-hosts, and they have their lukewarm temperature, or sorry, their internal temperature of their tauntaun is lukewarm. Kind of jack that one up there a little bit.
Yeah, it was a long way, but you got there.
Yeah, it was a little bit of on the spot.
Yeah, you got to FTL when you needed to.
The brain is like on half capacity today, boys. So, but I'm joined by Matty Ice.
Hey, you're here.
I am, and I'm joined by Matty Ice and Ant. How are we doing, brothers?
I'm doing well. I am Matty Ice, otherwise known as Black Series Daily Desk on Instagram, and coming off what a cast last week, gentlemen. I am excited for tonight, especially for Collector's Corner.
Oh,
yes. I think we all have some good ones.
You have?
Yes, something to show I have.
Yeah,
sure,
I am not a committee on Instagram. I'm doing great also. I've got a fun one tonight as well for Collector's Corner. So at the end here, we'll have some fun. And I am actually quite excited about some of the news we're going to be talking about. And you all, especially those who might have watched a show or two before, will understand why when we get there. But yeah, I'm excited for the show. So let's chat some Star Wars.
Let's do it.
Yes, let's get into it, guys. So now we are going to get into something that just came out within, I think it's basically been within the last day or two. Now, there have been several outlets that have released this report as far as a new Star Wars project. Nothing has been confirmed by Lucasfilms or like Disney itself yet, but coming off of _StarWars.news_, which is a mildly good one on Instagram. They actually share lots of good stuff. I would recommend you guys go check them out. They share a lot of good stuff, but to read it off, it says the second season of Obi-Wan Kenobi is reportedly now in development at Lucasfilms, according to Daniel RPK. And, we're just going to go into this and just give our initial thoughts. Nothing's been revealed on this from official sources yet, which is, I think, a big thing. And we all know, a lot of times things get, go for, rights and everything like that with Lucasfilms, and it just gets shot down. We've seen that tons with the movies, and it could still happen with this. But I will say, first and foremost, I am all for this.
100%. I mean, the first season was fantastic, in my humble opinion. I mean, I thought, the amount that they had with the Inquisitors and the number of, really kind of main character type Inquisitors too, not just like background characters. But I love the Reva story. If there's a season 2, like I would love to see some more of her. That would be cool. Or maybe down the road she gets something of her own. But
yeah.
I'm pumped. There's a lot of different directions that I think that they could take season 2. I think it said
definitely
maybe like 4 years after. Am I recalling?
Yeah. So this one was 10 years after. This was 10 years after.
Concurrent with Solo, which is wild when you think about Princess Leia's age and Han Solo's age in Solo, and that they end up together like that. So remember, Han's 35.
Is it 10? Is it 10 years?
Yeah, it's 10 years. So Han's 35 in A New Hope, so he's 25 in that, and Leia's she's 18 in A New Hope, so that would put her at 9.
God, damn, Han was a fucking cradle robber, man.
We won't disparage Han. He's a handsome, charming guy, who few can resist his wiles. Also, Jen in the comments,
a register.
Hal Runner, are you here? Where's Hal Runner?
Yeah, where is he?
Might not be on right now. Usually he's on, but I guess not right now. But yeah,
we did get started on time today.
Yeah, we did get. That's typically we're running behind, which is amazing, by the way. But yeah, for this, potential news,
Hold on. What is so funny, Matt? What is so funny?
I was laughing at season 2. You were getting us back on track. I'm allowed to feel a little giddy when I'm talking.
Last time
about
I said
Star Wars.
Season 2, you laughed as well.
I'm excited. Can I be honest with you guys? I'm dubious about this. Yeah, here's my thing. I loved season 1 of Obi-Wan. I will watch a season 2 of Obi-Wan. I'm hitting a point with some of the characters where I'd like a little bit to still be a mystery for me. And Obi-Wan ends on I loved it. I loved every second of it. And it ends on such a cool note with him kind of meeting up with Qui-Gon and setting up that he's going to reconnect with the Force. And you kind of understand that something's going to go on there. I like to imagine he looks so much older 9 years later because of whatever you do to connect with the Force. And that's what rapidly aged Yoda. But either way, I'm excited to hear more stories about Obi-Wan, but I don't know what's left to be said that's not plugging holes, and we have so much
Yeah.
going on with Jedi characters right now. I feel like when you think about how much we love the Ventress episode of Tales of the Underworld, like I'm ready in any time frame to start hearing, like Skeleton Crew was amazing for that reason. You know, in any time frame to hear more about some characters that we haven't heard about. Again, I'll eat up this Obi-Wan show. I'm sure I'll love it, but my immediate reaction is kind of like, how many times are we going to tread, you know, this ground, you know, when there's other stories to tell, kind of. But with that said, like, you want me to watch 6 more hours of Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan and making me cry just like he did in season 1? I'm not going to fight you on it. It's just my immediate reaction is not, you know, like, oh yes. It's kind of like, okay.
I think my immediate reaction to it was, and it was conflicted, probably much like yours is, because what I felt was, I was excited because unlike a lot of people, you know, like I know season 1 got a little bit of mixtures where it was either you really loved it or you really hated it. And I personally really enjoyed it, even for the things that were kind of in it. But I thought overall it was a great series and I loved it. But I did at the same time be like, you know, while it's cool they're doing this, I do think we could have gone into new characters, new directions, something else essentially, aside from the ones that we keep going back to. And to allude what you were saying, Matt, where, you know, that the mystery, right? I think that's part of what made Obi-Wan that mythical character that he was, really, especially for those of us who like kind of like the first things we saw were the OT, essentially. Like he had that mythical status because you didn't know his background. He's this hermit and then turns out to be, you know, God Jedi status, basically. So it does take away from the mystery a little bit. And I will say, I think if they do it correctly, it could potentially add to it. And with that, I think they could potentially, with the way Andor went and they know how successful it was, if they go a little grittier, a little darker on it, I think it could have some bite, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that the first season was a necessary story. And to be clear, like, yes, it was a little lighter in like tone, technically, but you had Vader like kill a child and drag people across the ground and snapping necks. Like it was dark. I think it's one of the best portrayals
like the
of Vader. You know,
Vader Obi-Wan fights. You know, the big rock crushing fight scene, like that was no joke either. You know, he beat the shit out of each other.
But yeah, and then in the comments again, Jen, does this mean we're going to get a season of Liam Neeson? If so, she is in. Yeah, I mean, that really is exciting. Like, if we can get Liam back, I mean, Qui-Gon is awesome. I love the idea of him meeting Obi-Wan at this later point in life. We all talk about how Qui-Gon was sort of like a rogue Jedi. He was a little bit of a heretic, right? In the sense that he wouldn't join the council and did his own thing. So him kind of, you know, when you meet Obi-Wan in Rebels, and he's sort of like, look what you've look what you've become. And Obi-Wan goes, look what I've risen above, when he's talking to Maul. Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan beginning to get there and Qui-Gon finishing it. That's an interesting story. If this gets you sort of like, you know, Andor gets you to the door in Rogue One, if this show gets you to the desert in Rebels, like, I could be swayed. Like, you know, like, I'm cool.
I like that
for sure.
I like that. And you know, I do completely, I get and understand and do, you know, respect that there are people who have that kind of, you know, nostalgia factor of the mystique of Ben Kenobi, you know, and like, enough's enough. Like, we don't need more of that. Give us more of this. Like, give us something else. Like, I get it. And I wouldn't complain, you know, either way. But considering he's my fave, you know, I'm not gonna be anything but
it'll get watched in my house premiere night, you know.
Well, let's look at this. I was gonna say, let's look at it this way too.
Timeline, guys, you have to think about it too. You know who could be in it? Good old Cal.
Who you want to be in it.
Good old Cal Kestis.
The day that Cal Kestis shows up in live action, I might have to FaceTime Ant in the middle of a show. Like, it's
funny. It's like, he's not even like my favorite character, or like top 5.
You just want it to happen. So bad.
He's one of mine.
He's top 10 for sure.
He's definitely,
you know, Star Wars is a
top. Yeah, top 10.
We'll revisit top 10 soon on the cast.
Yeah, we should do.
Well, I think we'll need to do that. Maybe that's our next one. But I will say one thing that I think
2 episodes.
Yeah.
2 episodes.
All right.
I think something that would be really cool.
Audience members pitch in and see if it's a good idea.
Yeah, but one thing I think would be really cool, just as far as other characters coming in and going with that. So we know about the meeting on Rebels of Obi-Wan and Maul. What if they have some type of clash when he's even younger again too? Like,
we can get that in Shadow, the Maul show. I was keep forgetting the name.
True, that is true. Didn't think of that.
I mean, the Maul show is the next thing I'm so pumped for, because Ahsoka's a long way out.
Right. But think of this, you know, they could potentially, because Maul's coming out when?
I think it's early next year.
So pretty soon. If Kenobi's
Yeah.
just now being rumored, like if it were true, it'd probably be 27 at the earliest.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This
You know,
not
so
even
they
27
might
or 28.
they could even potentially piggyback a little bit off of the Maul show though too.
That'd be cool. I'm into that.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, honestly. But at the end of the day, guys, this is all just nothing confirmed. It's all up to speculation right now. Fingers crossed we do get something out of this, but that's all we got for right now.
Hell Runner's
But,
here.
and
Hell Runner, we were on time, so it's not your fault. We're tricky to catch.
yes, a little bit. But moving on from the Obi-Wan season 2 rumors, something that we do know is happening coming up very soon that I wanted to highlight, because this is actually a huge thing for all of us who are Star Wars fans coming up in the great state of Texas, is Rebel Scum Con. So I wanted to... Yes. So I wanted to highlight this just for those of you who may not potentially know about this. So Rebel Scum Con is a Comic-Con convention which is literally strictly Star Wars. And I mean, I have been checking this out for like a day or two now. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go. Just getting down there, hotel, all that stuff. It's just not in the cards right now. But they have some really, really amazing guests coming up. So we're just going to show off a couple of them right here. So, Kate Sackhoff, Sam Witwer, Emily Swallow. I've met Emily Swallow myself, actually. She is fantastic. I got my Armor
really
action
nice.
figure.
I love her social.
She is. So she signed my Armor credit collection one, actually. Yes. And then going a few more. Matthew Newt, who played General Grievous. And then we got Lonnie. Still feel like he got robbed a little bit in there. Tate Fletcher.
He's getting his due.
Yes.
Ooh, Wedge.
Dennis Lawson. There's honestly, guys, there's lots of names. I'm just going to kind of scroll down and you can see some of these really big names as far as some of the actors coming in and whatnot. And one of these you are going to recognize, our boy. Nashir, right here. Yes. No. So for those of you who might not recognize, he was on the podcast last week. Really amazing guy. Truthfully, I wish I was going just to go hang out with him and spend some time with him. But nonetheless, I can't make it there this year. But for those of you who can, this is going to be happening. Let me get the date for you one more time just to make sure I get it right.
I think it's the 8th through
August
something,
8th
right?
through
August 8th
10th.
through 10th.
In the Frisco Conference Center in Texas. So. And we are having some technical difficulties. Anthony got booted out, so if you give us a quick second just to catch up in.
Well, I was going to say, if you want to bring up the guests again, I wanted to talk a little bit, a couple of them, like who I'd be excited to meet, that type of thing. Like, I think one of the cooler guests that I saw in there. Well, yeah.
Let me pull it up.
I remember the one I want to talk about while you bring it up, but Matthew Wood's going to be there, who does Bib Fortuna and Grievous, I believe, on the cartoons. And he has a really cool story that he was I think he was like a sound guy or a lighting guy at Lucasfilm. And they needed like a fill-in for like a Grievous voice when Gary Oldman bailed, or something to that effect. And he ended up basically just becoming the voice of Grievous. But,
Gary Oldman was supposed to
be Grievous, and he bailed really early. So yeah, sorry, I messed up that story. So the story was because he loved Star Wars and worked at Lucasfilm, let him be Bib Fortuna in Phantom Menace. And he was so cool and they liked him so much that he started doing some like random acting stuff for them. And then he landed Grievous in the cartoons and in like he should be pretty high up there. I'm like, yeah, General Grievous. So I mean, in the cartoons and in the movies
if you see his accolades in there, look at how much he's been in for Star Wars. It's actually insane.
Yeah, for sure. And basically when they went to do Mando, season 2, he also was Bib Fortuna. And I remember watching a really fun making of where they talked about how much Matthew Wood still loves to do Star Wars. So essentially, like, they said that, he's in makeup for like 7 hours and he's smiling and making jokes and having a great time. And then he's on set sweating it out. And like, I think that is so cool. And I'd love to meet him and ask him, a little bit about his passion. Like, that would be really cool if I was heading down to talk to Matthew Wood. Like, obviously Sam Witwer, of course, Katie Sackhoff, all the way back to Battlestar. But I mean, just having, being able to talk to Matthew Wood would be a very, very cool opportunity, I think. The people, it's like an underrated that he's there. I think a lot of people wouldn't know. And I love Katie Sackhoff, obviously. Like I said, back to Battlestar. Sam Witwer goes without saying.
Yeah. Yeah, same. Honestly, Battlestar is one of my favorite shows of all time, and that's going to be a cool thing with this one as well. So, Kate Sackhoff is actually going to be doing her own podcast, an episode of her own podcast there. So that's actually pretty sweet, and you can get passes to that through their website. As well as that, they're going to be having a bunch of activities going on in there as well. So I'll just pull it up to show you guys some of those. Various MCs, hosts, the Kate Sackhoff show live, like I was saying. The Bunta Eve Special Edition Texas. It's basically like the party and whatnot. Honestly, just lots of good stuff going on there, guys. And turn this off.
It's looking like Ant is still having technical difficulties.
Yes, I think he might.
He might
We're going
be
to see if
done,
we can get him back on there, guys. Yeah, I think he potentially is. We might need to move on, but...
Yeah.
Now, Matt, you said you wanted to go...
before we do it, like, just to see if Ant comes back, we just watched, I was telling you guys, the Gennady Tartakovsky Clone Wars cartoon this past weekend, because Jen had never seen it. First of all, that first season is phenomenal. There's like crazy shit in that with, like, you know, the jousting on the speeder bikes between Obi-Wan and Dirge. You have so much Grievous, like his first appearance, I think, in anything after they'd announced him. And to the Gary Oldman point, if you listen to the voice in that cartoon, it's kind of British. It doesn't have the rasp. You see how he gets the rasp? Because the second season kind of leads you right to Revenge of the Sith. But I feel like that's a taste of what you would have gotten with Gary Oldman. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like, I'm a big Gary Oldman fan, so that would have actually been really sick. But nonetheless, I think what Wood did is really special. And I think given that that's what so many of us have just grown to know through the years, I don't know if I could picture it different at this point, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I love Grievous the way they did it, but it's just an interesting factoid. It sounds like Ant just texted me. He's just going to watch us live. So it's me and you, Eric, doing Collector's Corner.
It sounds like it, man. So now I know you got something special you want to share. Did you want to go first or last?
I'm going to go last, I think. I'm going to close this out strong.
All right. Well, for everybody watching, your boy has a couple specials to unbox here. So I got the new Praetorian, well, not really new, but the Praetorian Guard from Mando and the newer Cassian, the good old Ross Con, so to say. So we're going to go ahead and open these up right here, kind of check them out. Make sure I don't lose any of the pieces.
Cassian's got 2 blasters. Unless you're doing Praetorian, then he's got some stuff you could drop.
I'm doing the Praetorian first right now, so I'm pulling that up.
Great figure, by the way. Can't wait for you to show it off to everybody. It's one of those figures I bought 2 of, and I was kind of like, why am I buying 2 of the same figure? And having 2 of them, like when I took my first picture of him with Gideon, was just fantastic. And he looks great fighting other figures. If you're a photographer like me, Black Series Daily Desk, check me out. Then the other cool thing about the figure is there's a lot of opportunity to do little details, like, you know, on his whip thing, I was able to add little, you know, through one of my editing apps, lights, and it's really cool. There he is, the Black Series Praetorian Guard.
Yep. So there he is. And this, I mean, it looks so sick. Like, so when these guys first came out on Mando, like, obviously we see the Praetorians in, The Last Jedi and everything, and they're cool. But, like, I feel like just the way that they looked.
They look cooler in Mando.
They do. Just that, see if that gives it a better quality right there.
Stand behind your, there you go.
But yeah. It just, and honestly, the red armor just pops. Like, I have not been able to get back out and do any action figure photos lately. Just, those of you who don't know, I went down recently. I had a surgery on my knee, still in recovery from that at the moment. But hopefully here in a couple of weeks, I'll get back out and do this stuff. But yeah, it comes with
back to tank, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, it comes with the whip right here that you can see, as well as the scythe. So, really cool accessories to go with this, actually. And
yeah, absolutely.
Now, when it was the 3 in Mando, I know one had the scythe, one had the whip, and there was like one other one that was just like a light baton.
The one had like 2 little staffy things that were like almost like little like tomahawks, which I think that they had in Last Jedi. One of the things I'm going to do after, you know, as a splurge one day is I'm going to buy the Last Jedi Praetorian that has those, and then I may get a third of these just to have like the trifecta. But honestly, for pictures, it's hard to get all 3 in like a meaningful way that's not just standing there. So it might just be just to have the extra weapon for photos. But and the modern articulation on that figure is great for posing and fighting.
Nice. I'm excited to see how that is, actually. And then popping open the last one here, the good old Ross Con. It's the new Cassian, new-ish Cassian. Look at this guy. And Matt, you might have already showed this one off, honestly. I'm not even sure.
I definitely did when I got it. And I've shown you the multiple blasters I bought for him. But let's hear your take, brother. In hand is different than me showing you on screen.
Definitely. And I don't have a ton of the Cassian line, because when they went to the classic plasticless boxes, I kind of like fell away from them a little bit because that was a line that got a ton of the non-see-through cases and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
it was
anyways,
all
that's him right
great
there, you
figure.
guys. Honestly, just feeling it, like I can already tell, like articulation feels really good in this
But
thing.
yeah, it's modern articulation, and the face scan on it's phenomenal too. So
Yeah, I
it's real nice.
Yeah, I could tell that immediately. And seeing if I can get the blaster in there. Yep, there you go. It fits nicely. Yeah, this is going to be another one I'm actually excited to take photos with. I went to Ross again, I think it was like yesterday, because I've been seeing that the K2s and some of the other skeleton crews have been popping up. So my friends over at the Star Wars _ toy collector on Instagram posted that one. So if you guys have a Ross in your area, make sure you check that out. That's where I got this one. I mean, $5, you can't go wrong. I'm kind of really glad I didn't buy this one when it was at Walmart, I guess so. But yeah, overall, great figure. I'm excited to do something with it.
Yeah, man, I've taken so many photos with that figure that I'm now customizing it with like random like soft goods jackets and things, just so I
Yeah.
don't bore everybody on my feed. But actually, cool tip from Hal Runner in the comments when I said I would buy the old Praetorian, which like I would never use the figure. He said the staff with the scythe, if you buy another one of that figure, you can cut it in half, and then there you go. You've got those 2 baton things. So that's a great tip, Hal Runner. I may do that instead when that figure gets a little lower in price.
Okay, sick. All right, man. Well, that's all I got, and I'm gonna kick it over to you because I know you are beyond pumped for the one you got.
I am. So for those of you that follow the cast know, for about a year, all I did was complain about wanting a New Hope Han, and they announced it at Celebration. It is not coming out till September, but I heard some of them were showing up in Canada. So I did a thing, and I spent like almost triple the price, but I am one of the first person I know that has the A New Hope Han. And you could see from the camera, I'm holding him up close, the portrait is phenomenal on the face. I was very worried about this. I think in the promotional photos, especially the face looked a little funky, but he looks great. It's full modern articulation. It's got that thing they're doing that I love with the shirts, where this actual shirt is a separate piece from the torso. It removes the cut from the middle, which I don't mind. I think it looks better for photos, and it has the modern not exposed knees. The other really cool thing about it is the holster itself is not pegged in, so he can actually do sitting if you want to like relive the Greedo moment.
Okay.
And I'm always the one that complains about no thigh swivel, but I actually like it on the Han figure, even though it'll make some stances look funky, because it doesn't break the blood stripe then. So it's always going to be
Okay.
straight, which will look even nicer, I think, in photos than that. So overall, maybe my favorite figure ever as of tonight. I got it when I came home from work at 6. It's now, 9:45 where I live, and I've taken about 5 or 6 photos of him. So I got to take other photos, so he's not the only thing on my feed. But the last thing I wanted to do is probably the other best A New Hope Han, which when I bought it was over $100, is the SH Figuarts Han. So I wanted to kind of show them next to each other. I can't really see my camera, but it's interesting because I've heard a lot of people say this figure is superior to the Figuarts one, right? But I was talking about it with Jen before, and we really looked at both of them, and my initial reaction was, yeah, this kills SH. But to be honest, they're totally different styles of figures. The Figuarts one looks more like a painted portrait. It has the interchangeable hands. It's more of a model kit, I would say, and then this is a figure. But overall, I mean, one of the best days of my life. I'm gushing about this figure. I can't focus on anything else. But when he comes out in September, or maybe earlier, since it's already in Canada, I think anybody that's looking for a great Han Solo, this is definitely the best one Black Series has ever done, hands down. And now I've just got to hope and pray I get a Bespin Han. Yeah, and it looked weird in the promotional photos, so I was very worried. And I put a photo of him up already on my Instagram, but you're gonna see a lot more in the coming days. So definitely, like every pose he can do. So check me out if you're excited about the figure.
Yeah, honestly, the sculpt on that looks really, really well done. Honestly,
yeah, you don't like Han, and I feel like I'm looking at your eyes, and you may get your first Han.
I might actually, because I don't have any of him, and it's not from lack of.
I saw you almost say no.
It's not from, and honestly, it's not from lack of trying. It's just like I just haven't seen him where I have.
They haven't had a new one in a long time.
No, that's just it. Because I think the last one of him was the archive, and I like the archive's cool, but like I was kind of picky with some of those where I only get ones that I really wanted. But I might get that one. I mean,
it's worth it for your photos, man. And the new Chewbacca, obviously, I didn't get that, but that's coming out around the same time. It's a totally new sculpt on a Chewie figure, and it didn't like lose the height or anything, like if it was Chrysanthemum. So based on the reviews I've seen of him, like on Landspeeder Luke, looks amazing. So will be a good 2-figure component to anybody's collection or photographs.
Hell yeah, man. All right, guys. Well, we are going to wrap up here pretty shortly, but before we do, I do got to drop some knowledge on y'all, because there is a humongous sale coming up with my boys from SaberMax. So I'm going to bring that up to you today. I did a post on Instagram today as well. But they are having their summer sale happening right now all the way through July 31st. And with that, you're going to get 15% off of your order regardless of what you buy. But they are having some special sales on some things. I think see the heirloom or the Grail Flex, I can't remember which one this name one is specifically, but you can look it up on there. Drop down to $270. You got the Redemption, which dropped down to $254. The Kylo Rens, which dropped all the way down to $143. Really good price for a saber, mind you. And then Shin Hati's dropped down to $287. Highly underrated saber. That one looks really, really cool in my opinion. Almost got that. If you look at it too, it's almost got that.
I love that saber.
It's got the Darth Revan vibe with the 3 prongs.
It's got a Revan and like a little bit of like a samurai sword or something. Like I remember when they showed those lightsabers, hers and Balin's. I thought that would actually be Balin's, and it was like Shin's. And then you see Balin's, and they both make complete sense now. But because Balin's more like medieval, but this is one of the cooler lightsabers I think they've come up with in years. That doesn't have like a gimmick, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. Honestly, you got Leia's going all the way down from 198 to 168. And then this is the big thing here. So now they're having a really good special with it. So if you buy one, you're going to get 2 sabers. If you buy 2, you're going to get 3. So essentially, what awesome. You get. Yeah, so what you get. So if you buy one of these sabers from the Master Collection, you're going to get a free saber plus a free collectible. And if you order 2 selected Master Collection sabers, you will get a free saber, free collectible, and the free LED display stand. The one that I showed off last week has the Death Star panels underneath, and it gives a really good illumination. And actually, if I can show you guys what that looks like right now. Hopefully this too much.
This is Eric's room again, everybody. Oh, it's so cool. I want that just to like turn it on its side and use it for Dio pictures. Like it is just such a cool looking stand.
I plan on doing it, but yeah, that's the stand, and it looks so damn good, honestly. So like I got my 2 Revan sabers on it now. Super happy with the way that looks, honestly, and still even more to go with this, guys. So with it, if you go, when you go to do your checkout, like I said, you get 15% off automatically and even some special savings. And if you use code the Dadalorian Special, you'll even get an additional $10 off, guys. So go check them out, SaberMaxLightsabers.com. The best sabers I've ever worked with personally. And as their motto says, great sabers, 0 BS.
And I want to say it was a good call out from our community manager in the comments, Jen. Shout out to SaberMax last week because they were so engaged in the interview, and we loved seeing them on. So hope to see those guys more, especially as, you know, they have great sabers and we love to promote them.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, once again, I really have them to thank for putting me and Notion to contact and really getting us together and talking and getting him onto the podcast. Really shout out to them, honestly. But guys, that does wrap up the show for this week. So everybody listening and watching right now, we want to take a quick moment and just say thanks for stopping in, hanging out with us as we talk some rumors and some fun stuff coming up in Star Wars. You guys can check out our Instagram at Sith Happens _Star Wars podcast, which will have the link tree to all of our various links, which includes our YouTube, Spotify, and our Amazon Music. Please get in there, drop a like and subscribe for us, and we would appreciate that. Maddie, why don't you go ahead and sign us off, brother?
With that said, I am Black Series Daily Desk on Instagram. That's where you can find me. And I just want to say it's been 2 great weeks of casts. I'm trying to make the next one. I may be out next week, but if I am, I'll see you all there. And may the Force be with you because I have friends everywhere.
Hey guys, I'm Eric the Dadalorian. Thank you so much for stopping in today. This is the way.